Hello, this is Melissa, the insurance exam queen. I have helped thousands of people pass their state, probably hundreds of thousands of people pass their state licensing exam for all things property, casualty, life, and health. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so that you can watch all the amazing videos that are going to help you be able to pass the exam. You can also interact with me here in the comments. Let me know what state you're in, what test you are studying, and I will provide you with some explanations of what is going to help secure a pass for you. I also provide longer in-depth videos and notes and practice questions on my website, insuranceexamqueen.com. And you can also interact with me and get support in my Facebook group. If you go to the bio of my YouTube, there is a little button for the Facebook group, and you can join where you can receive some help, support, peer support, and encouragement so that you are able to pass this exam with ease. So I have a lot of people who are studying for the Texas property and casualty exam, maybe because Texas is such a huge state. I don't know, but there is a lot of people studying in Texas. So I wanted to make a quick video about what exactly you need to be able, what are you doing in Texas with terms of studying? What do you need to know to be able to pass? So one of the first things to make sure we understand is you don't need to know it all. When you have a state approved licensing course, so people take like a course with like ExamFX, Excel, Kaplan, 80 Bank, or whoever you may be using. I promote Excel. I like their practice exam. And in fact, if you don't yet have a pre-licensing provider, if you get an Excel course and you use the coupon code QUEEN when you check out on Excel, you will get 10% off. And you will also then get enrolled into my class series from insuranceexamqueen.com for free. Now, if you've already purchased one of my courses, you need to do this before you do that, just to clarify. So anyway, I like Excel, but when you have a online course like that, they have to show you everything, right? They have to show you everything that is on the state outline. And what is, could show up on the test. And they have to show you all the nitty-gritty details about the thing that is listed on the state exam breakdown. But when it comes to reality, the test can only ask you so many questions. So for instance, you're reading ultimately like 400 pages worth of material, but they can only ask you 150 questions. So of all the things that you're reading, all the things that you're being quizzed on, and all the things that you're clicking through in your course, a lot of that you're not ever going to see on the exam. There's only so much that they can actually test you on, which is what I focus on in my insuranceexamqueen.com class series, where I will go over the most tested topics as things that you are likely to see. And then I also explain it in a way that makes sense, that you can understand it. And it's not in some crazy jargony, formal language that you don't understand. I break it down very simply. I am a middle school educator. That is part of my background. And as well as an insurance agent while going to college. I was an insurance agent. I love the job. I love insurance. And now I have a perfect blend of teaching insurance, and I absolutely love it. So first of all, you don't need to know everything, okay? You don't have to fully understand everything. What I'm going to show you is how to narrow down the things that you need to know and how to secure a pass the first time. So the numbers that I'm going over right now are for the Texas Property and Casualty exam as of August 2022, and they usually take a couple of years to update. So this video is probably going to be good for a while, and I'll probably take it down if it's not current. So if you're watching this, this is going to be current for you. So in the Texas Property and Casualty exam, you have 2.5 hours to take the test, and you're going to be doing 150 total questions. Now, here's the thing, though. Of those 150, only 130 are actually scored. So what that means is you only need 70% of 130 questions, which is a total of 91 questions. So as you're taking that test, you can get 60 questions wrong and still secure a pass. And I believe in Texas, I don't know, some states don't even show you like what you scored. You just know if you passed or failed. It really doesn't matter. There is no difference between somebody who gets an exactly a 70% and someone who gets a 90%. It doesn't change anything about your career, your job, your license. A pass is a pass is a pass is a pass. So as long as you're at that 70%, That's all you need. And again, I will focus on getting that 70%. A lot of the people who work with me one-on-one pass with just enough because I don't waste their time on the things they don't need to know. I tell them exactly what they need to secure a pass, and that is it, without exhausting their brain with all the material that you have to know and study. So now, of this 70%, and you are doing 130 questions, only 91 of them have to be correct. And what we can do to ease our burden of all the things we have to study and all the things we have to know is pick and choose where we want to get those questions correct from. So this right here is the list of all the chapters, the sections that show up on the exam breakdown. Now, again, if you have a pre-licensing course, they may list the chapters differently. They may call them different things, but I stick to what shows up on the exam content breakdown, and these are the major sections that are listed. So that is why I use that, but I will explain what each one means. So insurance terms and related concepts. This is mostly just basic insurance stuff, like what is insurance? Insurance is the transfer of risk. What is the law of large numbers? That's how insurance companies, they look at all the data to determine the risk of people. And the more data they have to look at, the better they get at making predictions of how many people are going to file claims. Just mostly it's definitions, and it is a pretty small sized chapter. Like the content that you need to read, the amount of pages that you need to read to learn insurance terms and related concepts is actually pretty small, and is actually the biggest chapter at 22% of the exam, which will make up 33 of the 150 questions. Because this is a simple chapter, you're going to likely get the majority of those 33 questions correct. So we're going to write down here on the side how we're going to get our points, how we're going to get up to 91. So our goal is to get as many questions as we can correct in insurance terms and related concepts. And that is one of the topics I cover very heavily in all of my class series. The next is policy provisions and contract law. And this makes up 17% of the exam at 25 questions. It is also a very small chapter. In fact, sometimes it's smaller than insurance terms. And so we're going to get all 25 points there. Now, policy provisions, these are like the rules of the policy, how the policy is set up, understanding policy structure. What is the declaration page? What is conditions? What is definitions? What is the insuring agreement? And then contract law is understanding how insurance policies are all contracts, and that between you and the customer and the insurer, there needs to be agreement, consideration, that when you're in consideration is that, both parties bring value. There has to be competent parties, that you cannot sell insurance to someone who's not old enough. If they, a competent party is someone who's old enough, knows what they're doing, not under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And yeah, that's it. Knows what they're doing, old enough, not under the influence of drugs and alcohol. They're a competent party. It's just simple things like that is what makes up the contract law. And again, a good chunk of this is going to be definitions. So between these two chapters, it's mainly definitions that you're learning, which makes it a lot easier because it's not a huge complex idea that you have to understand. So you're going to get 33 points there, and then 25 points so 33 from insurance terms, 25 from policy provision. Now, the next section is types of property. Now, this is huge, huge. It is one of the largest sections of content that you would have to study. And this chapter makes up dwelling, homeowners, commercial policies such as CPP and BOP. And the biggest chunk of material is coming from CPP and BOP. So I recommend that you don't even really worry too much about CPP and BOP, because again, you have to read hundreds of pages to lock down the knowledge of that section. Whereas dwelling and homeowners together usually is about 30, 60 some pages. It's not very difficult. So over here, we only worry about trying to get half the percentages here. So we're going to get about 14 points from the types of property chapter, but you will ultimately get some questions correct on commercial and business owner, the CPP and the BOP, because they are property policies. And what you learn about dwelling and homeowners, it still applies to commercial policies. So you'll super focus on dwelling, super focus on homeowners, and lock in that knowledge. It will then give you answers correct automatically for CPP and BOP, even though you don't make them a focus of the study. So you're actually more likely to get about 20 or, like 19 to 20 questions here. But we'll just stick with 14 to prove our point. Then you have types of casualty. Again, this is going to be another huge chapter. So much material that you have to read. And the biggest part of that material is, again, going to be the commercial stuff, which on the casualty side is known as CGL, commercial general liability, the occurrence versus claims made. That, again, is something we don't need to super focus on in order to secure a pass. What we want to focus on is auto insurance, both personal and commercial, and then the umbrella policies, which are super easy. Mostly it's, again, just definitions with the umbrella, like knowing what the SIR is, and SIR, a self-insured retention. That's the deductible that is paid. And then understanding how umbrella rides on top of home and auto, that it is a casualty policy. It only pays out for casualty claims. And then with auto, with personal auto, you're focused on just knowing the parts. Part A is liability. Part B is medical payments. Part C is uninsured, underinsured. Part D is damage to your auto. That right there is 4 questions. And then they ask a lot of questions about how the coverage pays out. The liability is split limits or combined single limit. Again, all of these things I cover extensively in my class series at insuranceexamqueen.com. Whether you get my bronze, silver, gold, or platinum, all of these things are covered just at various levels of how much we go into it. So again, you're going to focus on getting about half of the points here. So that's going to be another 14 questions that you're going to get there. Then we have, and for the sake of ease, I'm just going to delete that and write this out better. Plus 14. Plus 14. Okay. Then the next chapter is Texas common to all lines. Now, if you have, so we're talking about the property and casualty exam, but if you already have taken like life and health, for instance, you already have done this chapter. Because it's Texas common to all lines, what that means is that it is the same chapter between property, casualty, life, or health. It's all the laws that are important about insurance. And a majority of this chapter is understanding the role of the commissioner or the director, the guy who's in charge of insurance, how he does examinations, how his job is to protect the public, and then rules about licensing. You have to be 18, you have to pay the fee, you have to pass the test, you have to be of good character, and then how long is my license good for? It's only good for a certain number of years. Then when it expires, you have to do continuing education, which is to keep the license active. How many hours of continuing education? And then the unfair trade practices. What is misrepresentation? That's lying to the customer. What is twisting? False comparison of 2 policies in an attempt to get the customer to cancel their policy and issue yours instead. What is rebating? That's like offering cash to a customer in order to get them to buy the policy. Like, hey, if you buy the policy, I'll give you some of my commission back. You're not allowed to do that. So it's a relatively simple chapter when you break it down into those subjects. Know about the commissioner, know about the rules of licensing, and know about the unfair trade practices. And that's 14% of the exam. And you can try and get as many questions correct there as you can. It can be a little bit difficult. So we're just going to go with like 15 questions. Then you have Texas law for property and casualties. This is 13 questions out of the exam. It's going to be a relatively small chapter. It's not going to be a lot of material. And these are just going to be like state specific things that are unique to Texas, rules that they have about their policies. Usually they throw in things that like cancellation rules. How many days does the insurer have to notify for cancellation or non-renewals? What are the limits of car insurance? I believe in Texas, it's 30, 60, 30. For the split limits, just some simple things like that. So you're probably likely about to get half of the questions there. So let's say 7. Now, I haven't even added this up. This is just what I would expect somebody to get. So we, again, need 91 questions. So let's see where we're at when we add all these things up. Calculator. So we're going to get 33 questions correct in insurance terms related concepts, 25 questions correct in policy provision and contract law, half the points for types of property, half the points for types of casualty, about 15 points for the law chapter out of the 21, and then about half the points that'll come out of the Texas law. And we are at 108. Okay. I didn't even know that. I didn't do that in advance. I just talk about what I know you're likely to see. Again, I have done this for years and I know what people need to be able to pass, the things that you can focus on, save your brain space and not waste time. You need 91 questions to be correct to get that 70%. And based on what I just said, you're looking at 108 points. So you even have some wiggle room. Like you don't even have to secure all of the points in insurance terms or all of the points in policy provision. You have some wiggle room to get them wrong. So this is the premise of like what I teach is focus on the things that are easier to know, focus on the things that are easier to understand, the sections that are the smallest to learn, instead of inundating yourself with hundreds of pages of material with itty-gritty numbers and details. Like commercial can be so intimidating with all the things you have to learn, and taking it off the table as not a thing that you need to focus on can really ease your mind and give you a lot more confidence to be able to pass. So that's not necessarily possible in every single state. Like Alabama, it's like commercials, like 26% of the exam. You've got to know a little bit there to be able to pass. Otherwise, you have to know everything absolutely correct. So some states make it a little bit harder, but Texas, you can pass the exam by not stressing yourself out with commercial and not overwhelming yourself with all the possible things that you need to know. And again, this 108 is more than you need for passing, and it's giving you, it's already taking off 6 points here. It's taking off half the points here. It's taking off half the points here, half the points there. You don't need to stress about every possible thing, because the chances of them they can't ask you every possible thing. There's set things that they love to ask about, like the contract law. That's why these 2 chapters are the biggest. They love those questions. Agreement, for contract law, agreement, consideration, competent parties, legal purpose. They ask those all day long. And then general insurance, just simply understanding the basics of insurance and knowing the state law. Those 3 chapters are definitely your heavy hitters. And when you lock those in, you are securing a pass. Okay. So again, you can find my class series that goes into detail of teaching all the things that I've talked about. My bronze package is a very simple, quick review. It's about 8 hours of video, but it'll cover all of the major topics. Then you have silver, which will be a little bit more in depth. It's around 14 hours of video, so a slightly longer classes. And then you can have my gold series, which is over 20 hours of video and going up, because I keep adding videos into that one. And that one will also include some practice questions, some student notes that go right along with the video. And we are beginning to build a practice exam for that one as well. Everything is priced very, decently. My bronze is 27, my gold is 97. So wherever your budget is, you can find the class series that you need to help you out. And there's also platinum as well, which allows you to work with me directly. If you get platinum, you would get gold and everything else, and any tickets that I sell to any live classes. So if I'm ever running a live class, as part of platinum, you're immediately invited. If you get bronze, gold, or silver, you would still have to pay a class ticket price. Usually my classes for a couple of hours are $33. And if you're spending all day with me, it's usually $99. And by having platinum, you have them all for free. And platinum allows you to talk to me. I put you in a group chat room on Telegram where you can text me questions or ask me questions on audio. You just like, hey, Melissa, can you remind me again what replacement cost is? And then I will respond back with an audio message that you can save, download, and play over and over again if you need to, if that's needed. So it's a very amazing way. It's like tutor in your pocket. I'm right there to help you out. And it's also become a very supportive family group up in our Telegram group. So again, all of this is available on insuranceexamqueen.com. And these are my prices current as of 12/12/22. We never know what might happen. If we have a blow up of platinum, the price might need to go up. But I also have all the free YouTube videos. We have the free support within the Facebook group. It is my soul's desire to help every single person pass this exam with ease and confidence. And that's what the Insurance Exam Queen is all about. So I love you all. I'm sending you all the loves, all the vibes to pass this exam, and you guys have a fabulous day.